and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Happy Sunday. This video I'm filming on Sunday and it's going up on Sunday. How live can you get? Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I'm currently reading in the month of Femmeuary. Did you just shush me?
No, yes.
Oh.
Good hit.
Did you just shush me? I'm so angry. I am currently reading quite a lot of things, guys. I am like almost on the brink of finishing a few of them, and one of them's a magazine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things I'm reading. I'm also listening to the audiobook of Girls Will Be Girls by Emma O'Toole. I've almost finished that. Girls Will Be Girls by Emma O'Toole is a book that I've discussed many, many times on this channel. It's one of my favourite books last year. I think I talked about it in my mid-year best books of 2017 so far. God, I can't get my bloody old words out. Really, really loved it. It's a great study on gender from the point of view of someone who sort of potentially didn't have much of a feminist view on life as a young girl, like as a young woman, but has gone on to come up with some absolutely amazing views. Really, really loved it. I really recommend the audiobook. I feel like it's really accessible and wonderful, and love that. So yeah, Emma O'Toole, Girls Will Be Girls, currently listening to that. Then I'll talk about the ones that I've almost finished, plus the one that's a magazine. Let's talk about the magazine straight away. I'm currently reading Womankind. This is the February to April edition of 2018. So this is a quarterly magazine that comes out that is all about women and amazing women. And the focus on this magazine, it's got amazing artwork. I mean, you can see from the front cover. But throughout, the focus in this magazine is Tibet. There's a lot to do with Tibet and Tibet's history and Tibet's women. And yeah, it's just amazing. It's just got such cool like stories and things about women that I would never know, and yeah, I'm just really, really loving it. So I'm a few pages through. The next thing I'm going to read is Letters from Tibet. So yeah, really, really enjoying this. Mercedes bought me the first issue that I'd ever seen. I think I saw it on Sophie from Portal and the Pages wrap up or currently reading or something once. So this is the second issue that I've ever seen with my very own eyes, but very, very much enjoying it. And these are things that I will keep forever. So these are things that I can refer to again and again, and they're just beautiful pieces. And they're not too bad actually. They're £5.99 for a magazine quarterly. If you can't treat yourself to that, what on earth can you treat yourself to? I'll wait for the ambulance to stop. Then I am almost finished Eat Up by Ruby Tandoh. I am adoring this. I absolutely am loving it. I read it at the same time that I was reading Big Bones by Laura Dockerer, which I finished. I'm pointing over there because that's where it is, because that's where I keep my books that I finish for the month. And this is an amazing celebration of food and just eating and feeling wonderful about it. And it talks about like really evocative food memories. And there's things like in here, I keep referring back to it because it was one of the first things that appears in this book, and one of the things that that's really stayed with me throughout. It's like an ode to a cream egg. So how like you carry a cream egg around with you all day knowing you've got it in your pocket and when you're going to eat it, and there's just so much stuff like that. There's at the moment I'm reading a really interesting thing about supermarkets and how they've had a bearing on what we cook and what we eat, and then sort of things like people, there's been things in there that's really educated me about food deserts, which are areas which exist, oh god, which exists all over the world, but shockingly still like in the UK, where there's catchment areas of people that aren't within a reasonable distance to a big supermarket or a food, like any like food selling things, and there's these massive areas where people just can't get food, and they have to rely on and corner shops and things like that, which don't sell everything, and sometimes sell really highly priced items. And just yeah, it's just so educational. Ruby Tandoh, I've watched so many interviews of her talking about this book because I've just really, really loved it, and this is like amazing. I really, really love it, and I feel like this is something I'm going to revisit. And also just to sort of like talk about it a little bit more, I become a vegan this year, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything by reading this and being a vegan, because I can see it's a celebration of eating and not stressing yourself out over potentially things like eating disorders and things like that. So even as a vegan, I was able to enjoy this book, and I love it. Really, 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 really love it. So I can't wait to finish that. And then I'm also reading a picture book, which is Fantastically Great Women Who Made History. I've previously read Fantastically Great Women Who I can't think what it's called. One moment. It was called Fantastically Great Women Who Changed the World. This is lovely. It's just got loads of fantastically great women who made history throughout with some wonderful illustrations. Pocahontas. This is how I've got. So this is how far I've got. So this next one is about Valentina Tereshkova, which is a woman who I've never even heard of. So there's people in here that I'm finding out about. So like Ada Lovelace, who I do recognise the name of, and things like that. So yeah, really, really lovely. I feel like this is, although it is like marketed as like this sort of like picture book, which would maybe be like sold towards young children, I feel like there's not much in terms of story. There's great facts, and I feel like these are probably for like older readers, rather than looking at the front of this. I would think that was a picture book for young children, but I would say probably like 7 upwards. I don't know. I don't even know any 7-year-olds. So I don't know what they're up to these days. They might be going for job interviews for all I know. But yeah, very much enjoying that. So the last 3 books that I'm reading, I started this morning Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda and Ngozi Adichie. This is the last Chimamanda and Ngozi Adichie I've got to read, and I love her. She's like one of my idols. I adore her. I'm on page 12, so not much has happened so far, but basically we're following a young girl, Kambili, who has a very enigmatic, but it's just turning out that she's got a very violent father who's sort of very religious. I'm not quite sure. Oh, he's a Catholic patriarch, and he's just had a sort of falling out with her brother, and nothing's really come of that. So her brother said something cheeky to him, and then she's just waiting for the fallout from that. And it's, I mean, she's Chimamanda and Ngozi Adichie. She's an absolute mastermind of creating stories, and just imagine, like, I can see it in my mind's eye so perfectly, and the tension she's creating, just waiting for this guy to erupt. So yeah, this is gonna, I mean, I'm so excited. So yeah, really looking forward to getting into that. This is a short story collection which I'm currently reading in the bath. So every time I have a bath, I read a short story of this, which I've had a bath this morning. A Sunday morning bath. Is there anything more wonderful? This is Make More Noise, and this is a whole host of authors. I've read 3 of these short stories. The first one was set, the first one was very good actually, so that they're aimed for younger readers, but I still very much enjoy a younger reader story, and it's talking about when the census happened, just before women were given the vote, and because women were saying, well, if we're not allowed the vote, then why do you need to count where we are? So hundreds of thousands of women all over the country went and camped different places, went and hid in church halls, went and stayed with relatives so that they wouldn't be counted in the census, because they thought, well, if we don't need to be, if we're not allowed to vote, then why bother counting us at all? So that was the first story of them, a mother and her 2 children and 2 of their members of staff from the house that they live in going and camping in the woods, which was very interesting. Then there was a little one about bullying and making friends, which was like sad but had a very happy ending. And I've just read one about Olive Maverley, who was a real person who I didn't know, and her saving some children from the workhouses. So yeah, really enjoying this. It's really cute and lovely. So yeah. And then I am also about halfway through The Beauty Myth by Naomi Wolf, which I didn't realise, but this is an abridged version. This is a vintage short form one. This was only £4.99. It's very nice. And yeah, so I'm halfway through this. So when I hauled this and said that I was planning on reading it, quite a few people said to me, oh, it's quite dated now. I think it was first published in the 90s, like early 90s. We can find out together. Let's have a look. 1990, so it was first, but it's got a new introduction from Naomi in 2015, and I feel like a lot of people said to me it was really dated, but for me, the main thing that's coming through is how bloody relevant, how nothing's fucking changed in like 27 years since this was first published. So yeah, this is I'm very much enjoying that. So those are the books that I am reading in the month of February. What are you guys reading? Have you read any of these books? Are you enjoying Femmeuary? And yeah, I guess I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye.